All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So hello, everybody, and thank you guys all for joining us tonight. So welcome to our Alpha Kappa Psi's Brotherhood Unbounded virtual keynote series. Brotherhood Unbounded is the AKSI exclusive program designed to help members stay connected to their brothers in their chapter, to help brothers learn how to cope with personal stress, and to help brothers develop skills beneficial in their career development. The virtual keynote series is part of the Institute of Business Leadership, which is comprised of monthly keynotes and the one-day Institute for Business Leadership Conference. Tonight's focus is going to be on personal development. We're going to take a look at getting your brain on board. My name is Mackenzie Lauka, and I serve AKSI as the Associate Director of Education. I'll be moderating the webcast today. Before we dive into the content, just a few housekeeping details. All participants have been started muted for the presentation and are going to begin with their video turned off. While we'll keep participants muted during the content portion, please feel free to turn on your video, and we recommend, if you are able to do so that way other presenters and the participants can see you. For tonight's presentation, our speaker, Phyllis Ginsburg, has put together a video presentation that we're going to play for you, and then it's going to be followed by a live Q&A with Phyllis. So if you have a question during the presentation, feel free to post it in the chat, and Phyllis will be able to respond. But if you'd like to ask your question verbally after the presentation, you'll be able to unmute yourself and ask your question at that point. Also, be sure to stick around, as Phyllis is going to share how to enter a drawing to receive a copy of one of her books. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and share the presentation, and we'll let Phyllis kick us off here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Did you know 95% of your thoughts, feelings, decisions, and actions are out of your awareness? It's true. It's great for routine activities that you don't want to have to think about, like moving your body, eating, or getting dressed. Imagine having to think about all the steps it takes to get out of bed, get put together, and eat breakfast. The human brain was designed to be efficient. That's all wonderful until you want to make some positive, lasting changes. During our time together, you're going to discover what is getting in the way of having what you want in your personal or professional life, ways to work with your brain rather than against it, and concrete tools you can use at home and at work, including a technique that will have you feeling calmer within minutes. Before we get into the material, I thought you might like to know a little bit about me and how I got to be doing what I'm doing today. In 2005, I was in near burnout in every area of my life while working 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week in private practice with an expertise in high conflict divorce. I was very popular with judges and attorneys and had an 8-month waiting list. I tried to do it all and to be there for my family, and I just couldn't do it. I worked until there was almost no me left. All of my energy was going out, doing for others. After I got caught up, I took some much-needed time off and gave myself my own brain makeover. I got myself back in ways I never knew were possible by immersing myself in positive psychology and brain research. I also spent more time with family, friends, and most importantly, I reconnected with myself. As a result, the transforming of me and all that I went through was so profound that I wrote my first book, Brain Makeover, and shifted my practice to working with business professionals instead of people who are court-ordered to see me. Here's some of what I discovered. There's a quote from brain research that says, "The brain simply believes what you tell it most, and what you tell it about, it will create. It has no choice." Your thoughts are that powerful. The thoughts you think are like seeds you plant. Think about it. Everything that exists today was created twice, first in thought and then in reality. There is one big problem. 95% of your thoughts are out of your awareness. It is your efficient brain at work, and you don't know what you were thinking most of the time. You don't know what seeds you planted. The way to figure out the gist of your thoughts is by your harvest. Are you where you want to be in life? Are you having the experiences you want to have? Are you happy, content, and fulfilled? If you answered yes to these questions, then you have planted seeds with your thoughts that got you those results. If you answered no to these questions, then you have seeds planted with your thoughts that got you other results. It's like Henry Ford's quote, "Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right." Maybe you are where you want to be in some areas of your life and not in others. It's not too late to plant some new seeds. I will be sharing several ways to plant new seeds to get the results you want in your personal and professional life. Before planting new seeds with your thoughts, it's important to understand how your brain works. First, let's talk about fear. Fear plays a big part in how your brain functions. Fear is everywhere. We live in a fear-based society with fear-based news and fear-based politics. You may have grown up with fear-based parenting or fear-based religion. Without realizing it, many of us have become desensitized to fear and don't realize that we are making decisions out of fearful thinking. There was a time when we needed fear for survival. Today, living in fear and the survival brain is no longer serving us. I have a question for you. What percentage of decisions do you think you make out of fear? Take a moment and answer this question for yourself. What percentage of decisions do you think you make out of fear? I'd like you to remember your number because I've got 4 more questions for you. What percentage of decisions do you think you make out of fear to be loyal to your family or work? What percentage of decisions do you think you make out of fear to belong or fit in? What percentage of decisions do you think you make out of fear to stay in your comfort zone? And what percentage of decisions do you think you make out of fear to not risk getting hurt emotionally or physically? This could include not doing something that looks like fun, like skiing or skating, because you don't want to risk getting hurt. These specifics were probably out of your awareness until I asked you to consider them. Now let's go back to the answer you had of the general question and answer it again. What percentage of decisions do you think you make out of fear? How does it compare to your original number? If you're like most people I've asked these questions of, your percentage probably went up and maybe significantly. This is actually good because the more you can identify what your thoughts are, you will then discover what seeds of thought have been planted. I'd like you to think of a goal. Think of something that you want to do, be, or have. I'll give you a moment to think of one, just one goal. As you think about your goal, here is what happens in your brain. Without you knowing it, your subconscious goes on alert. The subconscious asks, is it safe? And you have no idea this is happening because it is all out of your awareness. With your goal in mind, ask yourself, is it safe to have this goal? You may get a yes, a no, a feeling, an image, or a sensation in your body. If it's a yes, great. If it's a no, that means you may not be ready or you need something first, like more information. Often when the answer is no, it's not safe, Then you have incongruence. Incongruence is when resistance shows up. Again, all of this is out of your awareness. Resistance may look like procrastination, laziness, failure, an illness or accident, or self-sabotage. It shows up as some form of stress. Stress doesn't just happen. You can't go to the store and buy some stress. It comes from your thoughts about something. It's a lack of congruence between what you desire and your subconscious trying to keep you safe. When resistance shows up, most people blame themselves for not having the relationship they desire, a job they love, or enough money to live comfortably. With more awareness, it gives you new information and something to work with so you can have what you desire. This biology of thoughts chart shows how thoughts affect your brain, your body, and what type of action you are likely to take. You'll see in the middle row, thoughts lead to feelings that lead to actions. We're going to start with the bottom path because that's where most people are with their thoughts. They have thoughts of fear and worry. Scientists say we have about 60,000 thoughts a day, and 95% are the same thoughts each and every day. That's your brain on autopilot. Scientists also say 80% of our thoughts are negative. And I'm here to tell you it's not your fault. You can blame it on your brain. That's your survival brain. We were designed to survive. That means we have been hardwired to be on the lookout for danger. Here's what happens in your brain when you have a fearful thought. It triggers the fight or flight response. The fight or flight response is a primitive response. If you were a hunter out in the wild and saw an animal coming at you, it would be life-saving to be able to flee so you wouldn't get eaten. The fight or flight response is very real for people today. Physiologically, many people experience the same release of stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, so they can fight or flee. But this is happening with situations much less dramatic than people out in the wild experienced. For some of us, getting an email from someone we don't want to deal with can trigger the fight or flight response. For others, it may happen while driving when someone cuts you off. And for many, it's triggered when you look at your bank account. Events like these can lead to feeling stressed. Your body feels stressed because blood gets diverted from your internal systems to your arms and legs and hands and feet so that you can fight or run. That means your brain gets less blood flow, leading to poor memory and the inability to think clearly. Your digestive system gets less blood flow, leading to stomach and digestive problems. The fight or flight response is to give you a burst of energy when you are in danger. It was never meant to give you that kind of energy while sitting at your desk or in your car. Chronic stress is a serious problem for many, especially at work. With deadlines, quotas, too much to do, too many emails, too many meetings, it's all more than one individual can handle. And it can have you feeling like you will never catch up. Feeling stressed or overwhelmed can cause difficulty focusing, an inability to think clearly, a decline in productivity, and work to become less enjoyable. When you're highly stressed, the actions you take are reactive. You don't have the inner resources to think clearly, so you react to situations without thinking. I'd like to tell you about a client that I've worked with. Her name is Sherry. Sherry was in her late 50s, a project manager at an international company, working 10 plus hours a day. She came to me asking herself, is it worth it? She had a stomach ulcer and digestive issues. She stopped exercising and doing things she enjoyed, and she smoked to cope. While working with me, her ulcer healed. She stopped smoking, got a promotion, and became more focused at work. Today, she feels calmer, happier, more in control, and more confident, and is no longer working 10-hour days. You may have some health concerns, high blood pressure, weight gain, headaches, body aches, stomach and digestive problems, or a weakened immune system. This is what stress and stress hormones do to your body. You may have heard of the effects of cortisol on weight gain and how it makes it impossible, almost impossible, to lose weight if you're chronically stressed. One option to dealing with stress and stress-related symptoms is to take medications that address or mask the symptoms. A second option is to get to the root cause so you can become happier, healthier, and more productive. I'm going to show you how to use the second option. It's time to move to the happy path on the chart and reduce some stress. Would you like to live on the happy path? Let's start with happy thoughts. So why happiness? Research from positive psychology shows that people who are happier are, there they are, people who are happier make more money, are healthier, they're more productive, have a better memory, are more resilient, they're more content, more confident, they're likable, they're more approachable, they feel better about themselves, and life seems to flow better for them. They're also more fun to be around and do business with. When you have happy or pleasant thoughts, your body produces the feel-good hormones serotonin and dopamine. As a result, your body feels calm and relaxed, and you can take deliberate actions that are well thought out. Who doesn't want that? I am going to share 3 ways to work with your brain so you can plant the seeds and think the thoughts that will produce what you truly desire. The first way to work with your brain is from week 29 in Brain Makeover. The brain doesn't know the difference. The brain doesn't know the difference between if you actually did something or just thought about it. Research shows that without a stressful event actually happening, you can create anxiety along with the chemical release of the stress hormones cortisol and adrenaline just by thinking about such an event. The converse is true. When you have pleasant, calm, or happy thoughts, the biochemical production and release of serotonin and dopamine occur. How you think has a direct correlation to how you feel. Since your thoughts create a cascade of chemical releases, and you know your thoughts can produce healthy or unhealthy hormones, you truly do have some control over your well-being. The second way to work with your brain is from week 29 in Brain Makeover. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. You can train your brain to work for you rather than against you by thinking in the direction of what you want, even if you aren't sure how to get there. If you don't fully believe in yourself, and the most you can say is, I think I can, that's a great start. In the classic children's book, The Little Engine That Could, that most of us grew up with, the shiny young train didn't think it could make it up the mountain. He used the phrase, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And by the end of the book, he did. Believing in yourself is a process of expecting and experiencing positive outcomes that build confidence. It helps to have positive expectations when faced with a challenge. Affirm what you want. Tell yourself, I think I can, or I can do that. And as Dr. Wayne Dyer wrote about in his book titled, You'll See It When You Believe It, you too may just find yourself saying, I thought I could, I thought I could, I thought I could. Another way to think of this concept is while driving. It's virtually impossible to reach your destination if you're continually looking in the rearview mirror or saying, I don't want this to happen. Like with golf, if your thoughts are, I don't want to hit my ball in the sand trap, your focus is on what you don't want. And where does your ball end up? In the sand trap. The third way to work with your brain is to use the emotional freedom technique, or EFT tapping. If you're not familiar with tapping, it is effective for eliminating fears, phobias, traumas, resistance, stress, and anxiety. Tapping is part of energy psychology and was pioneered by psychologist Dr. Roger Callahan. Tapping has many benefits, including freeing stored emotions in your body so you will be able to recall an event and not be triggered by it anymore. Tapping calms the amygdala, the part of the brain that triggers the fight or flight response and signals the release of stress hormones. And tapping reduces stress, so you can get clarity, make wise decisions, and take deliberate action to get what you want. I want you to experience EFT tapping so you have this tool to use anytime you feel stressed. Are you ready to do some EFT tapping? We're going to be tapping on Chinese meridian points similar to those used in Chinese medicine and acupuncture, but without needles. As I take you through the experience of tapping, you may feel calmer, get some clarity, or you might not feel any different at all. Sometimes it takes several rounds of tapping to get results. Let's do a round of tapping together. All you have to do is take 2 fingers and tap lightly on the tapping points as I am demonstrating. So the first tapping point is on the eyebrow, and that is where your eyebrow starts, closest to your nose. The next tapping point is side of the eye, and that's like on the bone there. Next is under the eye, which is like under your pupil, again on the bone. And then under the nose. And yes, this may feel funny or look silly, but it works. Then in the chin crease. Next is your collarbone, and I use all 5 fingers. You really can't get it wrong. Then under your arm, which would be about 4 inches under the armpit. And lastly, top of head, like a monkey. All right, that's 1 round of tapping. When I do tapping with you, I will give you phrases to repeat after me. The topic I selected for us is sleep. It comes from my book, Tired and Hungry No More. If you've never done tapping before, don't worry. You can't get it wrong, and we'll be doing it together. I'd like you to think about having a difficult time sleeping, either falling asleep or staying asleep. Then, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a low level and 10 being a high level, I'd like you to rate the stress or discomfort that you feel in your body when you think about having a sleep problem. Think about those nights when you have a difficult time falling asleep or staying asleep, and just give it a number. You can write it down or just remember it. And the most important part is to have this number so that you can see if the tapping has shifted something. All right, so I am going to read the tapping statements since I'm not doing them off the top of my head like I normally would when I'm working with individuals or groups. So I'm going to use a tapping script from my book. The first round is focused on acknowledging the problems of sleep. So here we go. Just start at the eyebrow, and I'll tell you when to shift. Repeat after me. I haven't been able to sleep well. Now, side of the eye. I really need to get some sleep. Under the eye. I don't believe I can get a good night's sleep. Under the nose. I need to sleep well tonight. In the chin crease. I have too much on my mind. Collarbone. I want to fall asleep easily. And underarm. I want to get a good night's sleep. I want to get a good night's sleep. Top of head. It's time to start sleeping better. Now take a big deep breath. Notice any thoughts or feelings that came up. Then rate your level of stress or discomfort on a scale of 1 to 10. Sometimes just by acknowledging a problem or frustration, it decreases the stress or discomfort because either your brain calmed down or you release some stored emotions around having the problem of sleep. Also, if you experienced yawning, that's great. It means that your nervous system and your brain is calming down and relaxing, and that's a good thing. The next round of tapping is possibility tapping. So let's get started. We're going right back to the eyebrow, same sequence. I wonder how I can get a good night's sleep. Side of the eye. I want to believe I can fall asleep quickly. Under the eye. I wonder what it would take to sleep well tonight. I wonder what it would take to sleep well tonight. Under the nose. I don't know, but I'm open to something that will work. Chin. Maybe I would sleep better if I believed it was possible to. Collarbone. Maybe I can let go and surrender to a night of good sleep. Underarm. Maybe I could think of something pleasant as I sink into my bed and drift off to sleep. Top of head. Maybe I could get a good night's sleep tonight. Take a big deep breath. Tune into how you feel and your level of stress or discomfort. Again, on a scale of 1 to 10. See if something shifted for you. Possibility tapping shifts your brain from being problem-focused to solution-focused. The last round of tapping we're going to do is on anchoring in thoughts for sleep. So start tapping at the eyebrow and repeat after me. I'm ready for a good night's sleep tonight. Side of the eye. There is nothing else I have to do tonight. Under the eye. Everything I need to do will wait until tomorrow. Under the nose. There's nowhere else I need to be tonight. Chin. I can surrender to a good night's sleep. Collarbone. It's my time to sleep and rejuvenate. Underarm. I know I will feel better and function better with good sleep. Top of head. I'm ready for a good night's sleep tonight. Take a big breath. And rate your level of stress or discomfort on a scale of 1 to 10. By now, when you think about having a problem with sleep, your level of stress or discomfort may be significantly lower and possibly gone. When you do tapping, as I do with clients in my community, and use statements that get to the root cause of the problem, shifts can happen quickly in a matter of minutes. For more information on tapping, visit my website where I have some videos. My website is myname.com, phyllisginsberg.com. We covered a lot in our brief time together. First, we identified what's getting in the way of what you want, personally or professionally, by looking at how your thoughts create your experiences. The biggest challenge is that 95% of your thoughts are out of your awareness. Additionally, fear and resistance are common because of our survival brain and the society we live in. Next, I talked about 3 ways to work with your brain. First, become aware of your thoughts and choose happier ones. Second, believe it's possible to have what you desire by believing you can achieve what you set out to do and by thinking about what you want rather than what you don't want. Third, do tapping to calm your brain and the fight or flight response so that your subconscious isn't on high alert for danger that's not real but imagined, or not even in your awareness, stopping you from having what you truly desire. Lastly, I would like to leave you with my 7 tips to be happier, healthier, and more productive. 1, set your intentions. Second, define what you want in detail. The more specific, the better. The third way is to expect what you want to happen. Number 4, be patient. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get where you're going. Number 5, be open to doing what it takes. 6, take inspired action. Number 7, plan ahead. If you take away just one thing from my talk, it's this. If you want something different, you must do something different on purpose. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Phyllis, for all of that awesome information. So now we're gonna go ahead and switch into the Q&A portion. So if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I can ask them directly to Phyllis, or if you guys want to ask a question directly, you can either use the raise hand feature and we'll go ahead and unmute you, or you can feel free to just unmute yourself and ask your question directly. So we'll go ahead and start with the first question we've got for you, Phyllis. So during that tapping, why is it that we tap on kind of negative statements?
Well, think of having a garden. If you were to take a plot of dirt that had weeds in it and you pulled out half of them and then you put all these great flowers in, you're going to have a plot of beautiful flowers and a bunch of weeds. But when you can acknowledge, like, oh, we got some weeds, I see this one, I see that one, and you take them out, release them with the tapping, you now have this clean bed of dirt to plant your beautiful garden. And I think you can't grow into who you're becoming until you acknowledge some of the things that are getting in the way. And the beauty of tapping is once you acknowledge it, you've got the opportunity to free these stored emotions and the things that keep us stuck where we are. And you don't have to do all of them, just enough, and then you get yourself on your way and you're good to go. It's very powerful to acknowledge what is.
Hi, Phyllis. My name is Mike Callahan, and I've got a question that came to mind when you were talking about fear. And with all the stuff that's going on in the world today with COVID and the political situation, and you know, we're living in a very fearful time. I'm wondering if some people, and I feel this because I want to watch the news, I want to watch what's happening, and I'm feeling like I'm addicted to fear, if that makes sense. Is that, you know, you don't want to watch TV because you know it's terrible, but I don't want to not watch it because I'm kind of hooked on the drama that's happening.
So Mike,
what's happening?
What's happening is your brain gets this, for some people with the fear, it's a heightened sense of adrenaline. It could be adrenaline. And adrenaline, some people love roller coasters, right? And who chooses to go and get this great anxiety rush, you know, as you're going up the track and you're going to go down or backwards or like a roller coaster, but we really are on a roller coaster ride right now in our world. And watching the news can spike the stress level, the fight or flight. It's kind of like, I got to know what's happening so that I can be safe. And it's terrifying to watch this. And my body is telling me like, yikes, we may be in some big trouble here. So we're programmed for danger, which is probably it's that part of the brain that's like, I got to watch this, or I'm drawn to watching this, because if I don't watch this, I could get eaten alive because I'm not on the lookout for danger. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what's the answer? What do I do?
Well, so the answer is
How do
watch
I react to
news
that?
in small doses. For some people, it's highly recommended you don't watch the news and maybe you read it so that you don't get the visuals and you don't have the sound effects and like breaking news and alert, like all this danger. When you add the drama that goes with it, the sound effects, it's like going to a movie, and those sound effects are really powerful. That's what puts you like you're right there, and you don't want to be right there. So reading the news might be like many notches down to be able to access information without getting all the sensory overload that goes with the news.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
All right, Phyllis, so we can see them in the back of your screen there. You have 2 books. What inspired you to write your books?
Okay, so the first book, I was inspired to write Brain Makeover, which is this one. This is actually the 2nd edition. My first edition, I had been encouraged to write a blog. And since I don't like reading long emails or blog posts, I just wrote a couple paragraphs a day and posted something 5 days a week on my blog. And I loved the Mondays. My topic on Monday was healthy mind, all the brain stuff. And that was the most effective for myself coming out of burnout and working with clients. So I took many of those, and 52 actually, because it's a weekly guide. So there's 52 weekly readings, and they're only a page or 2 long. It's so doable to read something and follow along, focusing on it for 1 week. at a time, that it made a huge impact for others. And I thought it would be fun to put this in a book. And I had no idea really, no intentions of writing a book. I had no idea what I was really doing. And then I'm like, well, that was pretty cool. And people were asking for it and wanting it. And then I gave Brain Makeover an upgrade, added 40% more content, and turned it more into a workbook. So every day it's got something to do, and then you can check off, like, you know, you did something, or fill in the blank, just to keep you like the topic top of mind. Because if you don't do something at all, you can read these great books. We've all done it. You get the gems, you highlight them, you fold down the page, whatever. You think you're going to go back to it, maybe implement it, answer a question. We don't. So I was really inspired to write Brain Makeover because of the impact of brain research, positive psychology. I added a section with tapping in there. And then Tired and Hungry No More, this one, is the result of some of my other weekly topics when I was blogging 5 days a week, such as healthy eating, healthy body, family fun, and healthy recipes. So this book came about when I was flying home from visiting my dad after he had a stroke. And I knew it's like my intuition and guidance said, it's time to put that information into a book because people need to know it. And I purposely began living a healthy lifestyle at the age of 19 because my mom was sick my whole life and she died young. So what I have in this book is more mainstream today, but you know, not very many people follow a healthier way of living. And you can choose anything, like even if you chose one or two things. You don't have to do a whole bunch of things. It's kind of like a buffet. Choose one or two things, whether it's finding an outlet for stress or choosing to eat a little bit healthier. Sleep, I have a whole section on there in sleep. I did massive research on the latest of what you need to do in order to get better sleep, and everything from what temperature your room ought to be in, and having a neat and clean space, and what to do before you go to bed, routines, all kinds of great stuff's in there. And you don't have to do it all, just a couple of things, and it can really be life-changing. And right now we definitely need to take care of ourselves.
Great. So Phyllis, you in your presentation shared a couple of different techniques. Are there specific times when any technique is going to be more beneficial, or also one might be less beneficial?
I would say if you're going to choose a technique to do and it feels like it's not a good fit, you're not willing to do it, you keep putting it off, that is not one to choose. You want to find something that resonates with you. So for example, not everybody can sit still and meditate. I don't recommend meditation for people who can't sit still and assume that one day you ought to figure out how to sit still for 20 minutes. No. So instead of that, I might suggest journal writing, or maybe you need an outlet that's creative and crafty, or you need an outlet that's physical, and find either go for a run or climb stairs, do something that is going to benefit whatever it is that you need to do in a way that resonates with you. As one of the things that we're raised to do things we don't want to do. It's part of, right? It's part of being a kid. Like, you're forced to do things. You're told you got to go to school. You got to do your homework. You got to go to bed. As an adult, the more that we can do what feels right to us, the less of that resistance we're doing, that inner struggle. Because when you've got the inner struggle going on, you might want to eat better or lose weight or exercise or lower your stress level. But if you're in resistance all the time and you got this going on, you're going to lose every time, because your subconscious is going to say like, no, we're not doing this. It's kind of like inside of you, you've got this inner child kicking and screaming and having a tantrum. Like, I'm not having it. So yeah, you've got to find something that resonates with you. And I would say if you've got a lot of resistance, if you are struggling, like I've worked with people who their doctors have told them, you must change your lifestyle. You've got diabetes. You know, if you continue to do what you're doing, your days are going to be numbered. And they struggle with giving up sugar, trying to eat better, getting better sleep, taking better care of themselves. And these symptoms, when they start out small, are okay. But when you've got a big life-threatening situation, that's where tapping would definitely come in. Because if you've got subconscious things going on that are blocking you and you're not aware of it, right? It's all in the subconscious. It's not your fault. And I always say there's something you can do about it. But you'd have to want to pursue that kind of work. And it doesn't take very long. It's just like, I think I'm ready now.
All right, don't have any questions in the chat. Does anybody else have any final questions before we kind of wrap up with Phyllis?
I don't have a question, but I just want to mention the tapping process. Just acknowledging, the stress, and then just saying you need to make that change. It worked. I mean, every single time I had to tap on my head, I automatically yawn. So I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, just going through that process is thinking through from acknowledging it to accepting it and then changing it. Helped out, so I appreciate that.
You're most welcome. Thanks for sharing your experience. In Tired and Hungry No More, I've got 10 tapping scripts, and they each have acknowledging, possibility tapping, and then anchoring in. So yeah, for people who respond well to the scripts and aren't afraid to do it on their own, then that's a really great way to go. For deeper things, you might want to find somebody who's experienced in tapping to help you get to the subconscious things, but you can do a lot on your own to calm down the nervous system.
All right, well, Fizz, do you have any last kind of thoughts with us? You want to go ahead and share about how we can enter your drawing?
Oh, lasting thoughts. I would say for the majority of the work I do, that if you're truly wanting to have something shift, if you want to have a more satisfying life, if you want something to be more effective or pursue something you've never done before, I'd say don't be afraid to go into the unknown, but be aware of how it feels and do what feels right. You can ask yourself questions like, is this a good direction for me? What do I want to pursue? How's the best way to get there? And if you can tune into some intuition and guidance, or you get that gut reaction in your stomach like, ooh, not the right path, or I feel energized and inspired and I want to take that path. Just listen more to yourself and you will be led to the right directions.
Perfect. All right, you want to go ahead and share about your drawing then? I'll post the information.
Yes. So I am going to be giving away to 3 lucky winners both copies of my books, Brain Makeover and Tired and Hungry No More. And all you have to do to win, and I see, thank you, Mackenzie, for posting in the chat. is to send me an email by Sunday, that's a Sunday, October 11th, midnight Pacific, to phyllis@phyllisginsburg.com. So that's in the chat. And for those watching the recording, I don't think you're going to see the chat, so I'll spell my name, PHYLLIS @phyllisginsburg, GINSBERG.com, and put in the subject line, I want to win. And then inside, put your name and your phone number. I'm going to be calling on Monday the winners so that I know where to send your books to. And I'll also be emailing everyone the names of the winners, along with a free gift that has something to do with tapping, so that you can continue to decrease your stress, anxiety, anything that you've got going, that maybe you're watching too much news, you're not sleeping well, whatever it is, you get another opportunity to experience some more tapping. And I'll also add you to my email list. Don't worry, you can unsubscribe if you want. It really won't hurt my feelings. Well, maybe a little. No, it's okay. But if you like the information I've shared, if you're interested in following what I'm doing and the things that I'm going to be bringing forward, I would love to have you on my journey. So again, by midnight on Sunday, enter the drawing, and 3 lucky winners are going to get autographed, signed copies by me of both books.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Phyllis, for everything you've shared and for doing this drawing for us. Just give one last shout out for your time. And I also like to thank everybody else that's joined us today for your time and your guys' great questions that you posed to Phyllis. I'd like to remind everybody, make sure you guys log into the My AKSI community. You can engage with other brothers in the My groups, register for more upcoming events, and take advantage of all the offerings that the community offers. So thank you all for attending, and we'll see you guys in the My AKSI community.
Thanks for having me.